The stars stretched across the dark sky like silver dust scattered on black glass. Far away from Earth, a smooth and shining alien ship floated in silence. Inside this ship, the crew of the Varnak species gathered around a glowing screen. Their mission was clear: study new worlds, learn about their dangers, and report to their leaders. Now, they had arrived at a small blue planet, a strange world humans called Earth. The aliens had studied many planets before. They had seen giant hunters with teeth as long as swords. They had seen monsters with claws sharp enough to cut through metal. But they had never seen a world quite like this one. The leader of the ship, Captain Reluin, narrowed his 4 eyes and spoke in a calm voice. "Begin the scan. We must find this world's top predator. If we are to conquer, we must know what hunts at the top of the chain." The crew obeyed. Strange lights flickered across the screen. The scanner dug deep into the planet, reading signals of life. Data flowed fast. "Strange," one officer muttered. "Report," Captain Reluin demanded. "The scan is confusing. Many hunters here, but one species ranks highest." The screen blinked, and then an image appeared. The aliens leaned closer, expecting a monster. They expected to see huge teeth, glowing eyes, maybe a giant beast with endless hunger. Instead, they saw something small, soft, covered in fur. It was a Housecat. The name appeared on the screen, translated from Human Data Networks, domestic cat. Subspecies, Felis catus. Name Mittens. Silence filled the room. One alien finally made a choking sound, like laughter. This tiny creature? It is the apex predator of Earth." Mittens sat on the screen, staring back with calm, golden eyes. She was curled up on a soft bed in a human home, her tail twitching. Her ears flicked lazily as she gazed at the camera that had caught her image. "She is small," another officer said. "So small. She cannot be dangerous." Captain Reluin frowned. His instincts warned him not to laugh too soon. Do not judge only by size. The scanner does not lie. This Mittens holds the highest mark for predatory nature. The aliens began pulling more data from Earth. Videos, records, observations. They saw cats stalking birds in gardens. They saw cats pouncing with perfect silence. They saw sharp teeth sinking into prey far larger than expected. They saw glowing eyes in the dark, watching, waiting. They saw claws like knives cutting through bark, fabric, even skin. The aliens grew quiet. "Still," one officer argued, "they are controlled. Humans keep them in homes. They give them food. Surely this makes them weak." But the captain pointed to the records. "No, look closer. Humans live with them. They sleep beside them. They allow predators inside their nests. What kind of species tames such killers? What kind of people call these beasts their pets?" The question hung heavy in the air. For a moment, they all watched Mittens. She stretched, yawned, and showed a mouth full of sharp teeth. Then she curled again, looking peaceful. Yet something about her eyes made the crew uneasy. It was as if she knew they were watching. "Maybe she is not dangerous now," whispered one alien. "But if she is the top predator, then imagine what the humans must be. Imagine the kind of masters who keep hunters like her only for company." The crew shifted nervously. Captain Reluin gave his command. "We must take her. Bring this predator aboard. Study her. Learn her ways. If we understand her, we understand the humans." And so the decision was made. While Mittens lay asleep in her warm human home, unaware of the eyes that had chosen her, the alien ship moved closer to Earth. Their machines locked onto her tiny form. Lights shimmered, quiet and unseen. Mittens twitched in her sleep. Her ears flicked. She opened one golden eye for just a moment, as though she sensed something strange in the air. Then she closed it again, purring softly. The aliens smiled with confidence. To them, she looked harmless. Just a pet. Just a small, furry animal. But the scanner had spoken. And soon, they would learn why Earth's most dangerous predator was not a lion, not a wolf, not a bear, but a housecat named Mittens. The hunt, though they did not yet know it, had already begun. The night on Earth was calm. The human city outside was alive with sounds, distant cars, faint voices, the soft hum of electricity. But inside one small house, all was quiet. A young girl slept in her bed, clutching her blanket. At the foot of the bed, curled like a small ball of fur, was Mittens. She purred softly, her tail flicking now and then. High above the clouds, the alien ship hovered unseen. To human eyes, it was invisible, cloaked by bending light. To Mittens, who slept with senses sharper than most humans would ever know, something felt different. Her whiskers twitched. Her ears flicked. For a moment, her golden eyes opened, glowing faint in the dark. But then she closed them again, returning to her quiet dream. On the ship, Captain Relewin gave the order. Begin the lift. The crew worked quickly. A soft beam of energy reached through the roof, invisible and silent. The air shimmered around Mittens, yet the girl never stirred. Slowly, carefully, the small cat rose into the air, still asleep. In seconds, she was gone from the bed, pulled through walls, through atmosphere, and up into the alien craft. The girl turned in her sleep and reached for her pet. Her hand found only an empty spot of warm sheets. She murmured once, restless, but did not wake. Far above, Mittens opened her eyes. The chamber she entered was bright and sterile, walls made of silver metal. Strange lights blinked along the sides, and humming machines filled the air with a low tone. The energy beam set her gently onto the floor. For a moment, she sat still, ears twitching, tail wrapping around her small body. Alien scientists stood behind a thick glass wall, watching her closely. Their large black eyes widened with curiosity. To them, she looked harmless, even fragile. Subject secured. One officer reported. Containment stable. Good, said Captain Relewin. Now let us see the predator of Earth. At first, Mittens only sat there. She looked around, her head tilting. Her ears caught every sound. Her nose twitched, sniffing the strange, sterile air. She let out a small, questioning MRRP. The aliens exchanged glances. It makes sounds, one muttered. It communicates, another said. She appears calm, said Captain Relewin. Perhaps we were mistaken. But the scanner's data was clear, and Relewin did not trust appearances. He ordered more tests. The aliens released a small drone into the chamber. It hovered, buzzing softly, its lights blinking red. The drone circled Mittens like a curious insect. Mittens' eyes locked onto it instantly. Her body stilled. Her ears went forward. Her tail began to flick. The aliens leaned closer. What is she doing? She is focused. The drone buzzed again, moving closer. Mittens crouched. Her body sank low. Her back legs tensed like coiled springs. The aliens did not understand this posture, but they sensed something was about to happen. Then, with sudden speed, Mittens leapt. She moved faster than their sensors could follow, claws flashing. In one strike, she batted the drone to the ground. Sparks flew. The machine whirred helplessly before shutting down completely. The chamber went silent. The aliens froze, staring. She destroyed it, one officer whispered. With claws, another added, stunned. It was only play, Captain Relewin said, his voice tense. She hunted it as prey. Mittens sat proudly beside the broken drone, her tail curling around her paws. She licked one paw slowly, as though nothing unusual had happened. The aliens began recording data frantically. More tests followed. They released moving lights across the walls. Mittens chased them with flawless precision, her paw striking exactly where the lights appeared. They released mechanical mice that scurried across the floor. She caught every one, never missing, her teeth clamping down with perfect accuracy. Her agility stunned them. Her instincts were sharp, deadly, and endless. She does not tire, an officer muttered after hours of observation. She does not lose interest, another added. Look at her eyes, Captain Reluin said quietly. They glow like fire. She waits, she plans, she strikes. Always patient, always ready. Still, some crew members doubted. But she is small. We are large. We have technology. She cannot be dangerous to us. Reluin did not answer. His instincts told him otherwise. Hours passed. Mittens had explored every corner of the chamber. She discovered the air vents and batted at them. She leapt onto ledges high above the floor. She tested the glass wall, pawing at it, tapping, even scratching. Each sound made the aliens jump, though the glass held firm. Finally, she curled into a ball and pretended to sleep, but her ears remained alert. Her tail twitched. She was waiting. Captain Reluin watched her closely. She learns, he said. She studies her prison. She looks for weakness. His words were almost a warning, but few took him seriously. The next stage of testing began. The aliens released a larger drone, this one built with defensive shields. Its body was armed with a mild energy pulse, meant to scare but not harm. The drone approached Mittens. It buzzed louder this time, flashing lights across the chamber. It released a short pulse of energy that stung like static. Mittens hissed, a low and dangerous sound. Her back arched, for rising high. Her eyes glowed gold in the bright room. The aliens gasped. She grows angry. Careful, one officer warned. The drone advanced again. Mittens did not retreat. She did not fear. Instead, she became silent. She crouched low, her eyes locked. Her tail flicked once, twice. Then she sprang. Her claws struck the shield. Sparks scattered across the room. The drone tried to shock her again, but she twisted mid-air, faster than the eye could follow, and landed on its back. She bit down. Her sharp teeth sank into wires. The machine screamed with electric sparks before collapsing dead. The glass wall shook with the sound of her hiss. The aliens fell back from the observation window. She destroyed the advanced unit. She pierced the shield. It is impossible. But Captain Reluin said nothing. His gaze stayed on Mittens, who now sat calmly once again, licking her paw, as if proud of her victory. Then something unexpected happened. Mittens looked up. Her golden eyes met the aliens through the glass. For the first time, she seemed aware of them, as though she had always known they were watching. Her stare was cold, unblinking, ancient. The alien shivered. Does she know? One whispered. She hunts us now, Reluin said softly. We are the prey. And so, what had begun as a simple study now turned into fear. The aliens realized too late that Earth's apex predator did not roar, did not stomp, did not crush with size. It waited. It watched. It struck with perfect silence. And the first contact with Mittens was only the beginning. The chamber lights dimmed to night cycle mode. The alien crew believed their subject would now rest. After all, most creatures grew tired after long hours of testing. But Mittens was not like most creatures. She curled into a ball, purring softly, her golden eyes half closed. To the aliens, it looked as if she had finally fallen into harmless sleep. The glass wall separating them made them feel safe. They whispered to each other, recording their notes. "She shows intelligence," one officer said, his voice calm again now that the danger seemed over. "But she is contained," another replied. "We control the chamber. She cannot harm us here." Captain Reluin said nothing. He had watched her closely, every movement, every flick of her tail. He had seen the way her eyes had met theirs. It was not the look of a pet. It was the look of a hunter. And hunters never truly slept. Hours passed. The crew switched shifts. Guards grew lazy. Scientists yawned. And the sound of machines filled the quiet halls of the ship. The chamber lights glowed faint blue. Mittens opened her eyes. They glowed in the dark like two small suns. Her ears swiveled, catching every noise beyond the walls. She heard the hum of engines, the steps of aliens walking past, the hiss of doors opening and closing. She listened. She learned. Her whiskers quivered. Her paws pressed lightly on the metal floor. She moved with silence so complete that even the ship's sensors failed to register it. The predator was awake. Inside the observation room, a young alien officer named Varric rubbed his tired eyes. His shift had been long and dull. He leaned closer to the glass, curious. To him, the creature inside still looked harmless. Small. Soft. But then he froze. Mittens was gone from her bed. He blinked, searching the chamber. "Where did she go?" he whispered. The glass showed only darkness and faint blue light. The scanners detected nothing. Suddenly, two glowing eyes appeared near the ceiling vent. Varric stumbled back in shock. Mittens clung upside down, her claws hooked into the metal like daggers. She stared down at him, perfectly still. A cold shiver ran through him. Before Varric could call for help, Mittens dropped silently back to the floor. She padded across the chamber with slow, graceful steps, tail swaying behind her. Every movement was deliberate, controlled. The scientists argued among themselves. "She explores. That is all." "No, she stalks," Varric said quietly. "She cannot leave the chamber. It is impossible." But Captain Reluin shook his head. No prison holds a true predator forever. Mittens began testing the chamber again. She tapped the walls, clawed at the corners, and pawed at the vents. She even pressed her small nose against the floor grating, sniffing. She studied the electric hum of the machines. Finally, she crouched near the vent, her whiskers twitching. The scientists frowned. "She cannot fit." But Mittens did not care. She began clawing with sharp precision. Sparks flew as her claws scraped metal. Bit by bit, she worked at the vent cover. Her teeth clamped onto the edge. With a final tug, the cover came loose. The aliens gasped. She breached containment. Impossible. Yet there she was, slipping into the vent like liquid shadow. Her tail vanished last, flicking once as if mocking them. Alarms began to ring across the ship. The vents echoed with the sound of claws against metal. Tiny but sharp, fast but silent. Mittens moved through the dark tunnels with perfect ease. She knew no fear. Her senses guided her. Every vibration, every hum, every smell told her where to go. Alien guards ran through the halls, searching. Their weapons glowed, ready to stun. But the vents carried Mittens above them, behind them, always unseen. One guard paused, thinking he heard something. He turned slowly, eyes wide. A faint hiss answered from the shadows above. By the time he raised his weapon, it was too late. A flash of claws, a leap from above, and his weapon clattered to the floor. His screams echoed as Mittens darted back into the vents, leaving him with torn armor and shallow cuts that burned with pain. The crew found him trembling. "She attacked," he gasped. "She is hunting us." Panic spread. The scientists no longer laughed. The guards no longer felt safe. Even behind sealed doors, every flicker of shadow made them jump. Mittens moved faster than their sensors. Cameras caught only blurs of fur and glowing eyes before going dark. Drones patrolling the halls were found broken, wires scattered, sparks still glowing. She was everywhere. She was nowhere. The ship itself began to feel haunted. Captain Reluin called an emergency meeting. "This is no ordinary creature," he said, his voice hard. "This is patience, speed, and instinct all in one. She does not fight with rage. She fights with purpose. We are prey in our own vessel." The crew trembled at his words. "But she is only one," an officer argued weakly. "One is enough," Reluin replied. "If humans keep such predators in their homes, what does that mean for the humans themselves?" His question chilled them all. Meanwhile, deep inside the vents, Mittens paused. She licked her paw calmly, cleaning away the faint traces of oil from the machines she had destroyed. Her golden eyes narrowed. She was not lost, not trapped. She was exactly where she wanted to be. She listened again. The ship's rhythm was now hers to understand. The aliens had made one mistake when they brought her here. They thought she was just an animal. But Mittens knew something greater. She was a hunter, and this was her territory now. Another alien patrol moved through a corridor. The lights flickered strangely, a sign that Mittens had been nearby. One soldier whispered nervously, "She cannot outsmart all of us." A hiss echoed from behind. They turned. Nothing. Then the ceiling vent above burst open, and Mittens dropped among them like a silent shadow. Claws flashed, weapons fell, and the aliens stumbled in panic. By the time backup arrived, only claw marks and broken gear remained. The predator was no longer in containment. She was in control. And every alien aboard the ship now understood the truth. Earth's so-called pet was not soft, not safe, not harmless. She was death wrapped in fur, stalking them one by one. The predator had woken, and the hunt had just begun. The ship was no longer calm. Where once its halls echoed with the steady hum of machines, now they rang with alarms. Red lights flashed across metal walls. Warning signals pulsed in every room. The crew ran through corridors, their voices filled with fear. And all of it was because of one small creature. Mittens, the Housecat, the apex predator of Earth. Captain Reluin stood at the command deck, his four eyes sharp and filled with tension. His officers shouted reports, one after another. She breached the vent system. 3 drones destroyed. Security patrol down in Sector 9. Reluin slammed his clawed hand against the console. Focus. She is not a ghost. She is flesh and blood. Find her. Contain her. Do not underestimate her again. But in his heart, Reluin knew the truth. This was no ordinary hunt. This was survival. Meanwhile, Mittens moved like shadow through the ship. She slipped from vent to vent, her paws making no sound on the cold metal. Her body fit into spaces too small for alien soldiers. Her ears caught every footstep, every nervous breath. To her, the ship was a giant playground. But unlike the toys of home, these toys screamed and ran. In one corridor, 3 guards marched carefully, their weapons glowing with energy. Their leader barked orders. Eyes open. Stay sharp. She is small but fast. They turned a corner. The lights above flickered once, twice, then went dark. A hiss echoed from behind them. They spun around, weapons raised. Nothing. One guard whispered, "She's here." Then the ceiling vent dropped open, and Mittens leapt. Her claws raked across armor, sparks flying. Weapons clattered to the floor as the guard screamed. By the time they regained control, she had already vanished back into the darkness. All that remained were claw marks and a faint golden glow from her eyes. The guards refused to move forward. They backed away, shaking, their courage gone. Fear spread faster than truth. Stories began to twist. Some said they saw her pass through walls. Others swore she was multiplying, more cats appearing from the shadows. Some claimed her purr carried through the ship like a low growl, echoing in their ears even when she was nowhere near. The Varnak were a proud species, conquerors of many worlds. But now they whispered like frightened children. She hunts us. She waits in the dark. She cannot be killed. In the medical bay, injured soldiers lay trembling. One had claw marks across his helmet. Another swore her glowing eyes followed him even after she was gone. Doctors shook their heads. These are shallow wounds. She did not strike to kill. Then why attack? A patient groaned. The doctor's answer was quiet. Because she enjoys the hunt. The silence that followed was worse than any scream. On the command deck, Captain Reluin knew the panic was destroying discipline. He stood tall, his voice cold and steady. "We are not prey," he declared. "We are Varnak. We have crushed beasts larger than this ship. We will not fall to a creature the size of a ration pack." His words gave some comfort, but deep down, even Reluin felt the weight of her stare, as if Mittens was already watching him from the shadows. He ordered a new plan. Seal the vents. Flood them with gas. Drive her into the open. The crew obeyed. Metal shutters slid across vent openings. Tubes hissed as thick smoke filled the tunnels. The scanners beeped, detecting movement. She is running. The crew cheered weakly. But then the scanners went dead. She destroyed them. Alarms blared. The lights in the command deck flickered. Every screen went black for 3 long seconds. When the systems rebooted, one camera caught a terrifying sight. Mittens, sitting calmly on a high pipe, her tail wrapped around her paws, staring directly into the lens. The feed cut to static. Panic deepened. The crew begged the captain to retreat. "We must abandon ship," one shouted. But Reluin's pride burned. "No. If we flee from one creature, our enemies will laugh for all time. We will fight." He deployed shock troops armed with heavy weapons. He ordered the engineers to lock every door. He told the AI to track every movement. But Mittens did not care. She slipped past cameras. She broke sensors with swipes of her claws. She moved through shadows as if she belonged there. In the lower decks, a squad of soldiers huddled together. Their leader whispered, "Stay calm. She cannot take us all at once." A faint sound interrupted him. A soft, rhythmic noise. Purr. They froze. The sound grew louder. It came from everywhere, filling the hall, vibrating through the metal walls. "Where is she?" one soldier cried. Golden eyes appeared in the dark. The soldiers fired wildly, beams of energy lighting the corridor. But when the smoke cleared, there was nothing, only silence. Then something brushed against the leader's leg. He screamed, firing downward. Sparks flew. His weapon broke. The others turned and ran. The hunt continued. By now, the ship itself felt cursed. Systems failed one by one. Lights flickered. Doors jammed. Elevators stopped between levels. The crew swore they felt eyes on them at every turn. Mittens had become a legend in less than a day. To the aliens, she was no longer a Housecat. She was a phantom, a demon, the spirit of Earth's fury made flesh. Captain Reluin called another meeting. His voice was heavy. "She controls the ship," he admitted. "Every hall, every room is her hunting ground. We cannot corner her. We cannot outsmart her." His officers whispered in fear. "Then what do we do?" Reluin looked at them, his expression grim. "We pray she grows bored." The silence that followed was unbearable. But Mittens was not bored. She was just getting started. In the dark vents, she crouched low, her golden eyes glowing. Her tail flicked once. She licked her paw, calm as ever. She was patient. She was fearless. She was the predator. And the alien ship, filled with hundreds of soldiers, was now nothing more than her hunting ground. The panic was only the beginning. The sun had barely begun to rise, casting soft golden light over the small town. Birds sang their morning songs, and a light breeze rustled the trees. Inside a modest home, a young girl named Lila sat on her bed, eyes wide and worried. Her blanket was tangled around her legs, and her small hands clutched the empty space at the foot of her bed. "Mittens," she whispered. But the house was silent. The soft purring that usually greeted her in the morning was gone. Lila's heart began to race. She jumped out of bed and ran to the living room. The couch, the rug, the chair by the window. Everywhere she looked, there was no sign of her beloved cat. Panic set in. Outside, the world seemed normal. Cars drove past. The neighbors began their morning routines, and the sun climbed higher into the sky. But to Lila, nothing felt normal. Mittens had never gone missing before. She was always there, always near, always safe. She called for her cat. "Mittens, come on, girl." No answer. Her chest tightened. Lila ran to the front door, flung it open, and called again. Her voice trembled. "Mittens, please come back." Still nothing. Lila ran from street to street, calling her cat. Her small voice echoed off the houses, but no one seemed to hear. Some neighbors looked curiously at the young girl, but no one stopped to help. After all, it was just a missing cat. Or so they thought. But Lila knew better. Mittens was no ordinary cat. She had instincts sharper than any dog or fox. She was clever. She could open doors, hide in small places, and outsmart almost anyone. Lila felt a shiver run down her spine. Something wasn't right. Back inside the home, the window still rattled slightly from the strange energy that had pulled Mittens away the night before. Lila paused, staring at the window. Her mind raced. She had never seen anything like this. Her parents were still asleep. She had no one to turn to. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. It was a message from her friend, Jamie. "Did you see the news? People are reporting strange lights in the sky last night. Weird energy readings. Scientists are puzzled." Lila's eyes widened. She thought of Mittens. She thought of the strange humming she had heard outside her window the night before. Her heart pounded. Could it have anything to do with Mittens' disappearance? Determined, Lila grabbed her backpack and stuffed it with essentials: a flashlight, a small water bottle, and a few of Mittens' favorite toys. She needed help, but she also needed to find her cat herself. No one else could understand what was at stake. She ran through the streets, calling for Mittens. Her voice grew hoarse, but she refused to stop. She stopped at every alley, every garden, every corner where Mittens might have hidden. But the streets were empty. Her worry turned into fear. Meanwhile, hundreds of kilometers above, aboard the alien ship, Mittens prowled like a shadow. Lila had no idea what her cat was facing. She had no idea that Mittens had become part of something much bigger, something terrifying. But instinct told Lila that Mittens needed her. She ran faster. Her small legs carried her through winding streets and parks. She could not shake the feeling that time was running out. Hours passed. Lila had searched her neighborhood and then the town's outskirts. Still no Mittens. Exhaustion hit her, but she refused to give up. She sank to a bench in the park, panting and teary-eyed. That was when she noticed her phone buzzing again. She picked it up. A news alert flashed. Unidentified craft sighted near the city. Authorities investigating unusual energy patterns. No contact yet. Her stomach turned. Could this be related? Could Mittens have been taken by this craft? She knew she needed help. Back on Earth, the military had begun to notice unusual patterns. Satellite readings had picked up strange energy spikes over the town. Aircraft sensors had recorded anomalies in the atmosphere. The reports were confusing, frightening, and impossible to ignore. Colonel Harkin, a man used to controlling chaos, was frustrated. "What the hell is going on?" He barked at his officers. "Tell me we're not being pranked. Tell me there's a logical explanation." A young officer stepped forward. "Sir, the energy readings are consistent with something extraterrestrial, something that shouldn't exist, and it moved rapidly over the last 12 hours. Harkin's eyes narrowed. "Extraterrestrial? You're saying aliens?" "Yes, sir. It's highly likely." The room fell silent. Even Harkin, a man who had faced countless threats, felt a chill run down his spine. Meanwhile, Lila's determination caught the attention of local authorities. Officers on patrol saw her running through streets, shouting for a cat. They stopped her, concerned. "Are you okay, miss?" one asked. I need help," she said, her voice trembling. "My cat, she's been taken. Something strange is happening. I think aliens took her." The officers laughed nervously. "Aliens? I'm serious." Lila shouted, tears in her eyes. "You have to help me. They took Mittens." Something in her voice stopped them. Maybe it was the fear, or maybe it was the urgency. One officer radioed for backup, while the others tried to calm her. Colonel Harkin received the report within minutes. A small child claiming her cat had been taken by aliens? Ridiculous, but the pattern was undeniable. The energy spikes, the unexplained lights, and now a human witness who insisted on seeing her pet. Harkin made a decision. "We're mobilizing a team. We investigate, we contain, and we retrieve whatever is responsible, and keep the child safe. She may know more than we think." Lila, unaware that she was now part of a military operation, continued to search. She followed faint sounds of electricity, flickers of light, and traces of energy she did not understand. Every corner she turned, she called out, "Mittens, come on, girl." Hours passed. The sun set, casting long shadows across the town. Lights blinked in the sky. Military drones now scanning the area. Lila barely noticed them. All she could think about was Mittens. She didn't know the alien ship was just above the atmosphere, its hull glinting in the last rays of the sun. She didn't know that her small cat, now inside that very ship, was hunting predators far larger than herself. But she did not give up. Back on the ship, Mittens paused in the vents, sensing movement far below. She could feel the humans approaching, though she could not yet see them. Her ears twitched. Her tail flicked. She understood instinctively that her human, the one who had cared for her, who had fed her, who had loved her, was trying to save her. Somewhere inside, a bond stronger than fear or instinct connected them. Lila would come. She would find her. Mittens waited, silent as the shadows, ready to leap, ready to strike, ready to survive. And so, on Earth, the stage was set. A small girl armed with courage and hope, a military unsure of what to face, and an apex predator in the skies above. Hidden, hunting, and unafraid. The human response had begun. The alien ship was no longer a place of control. Every hallway, every vent, every corridor had become a playground for one small predator. Mittens had already proven her cunning, speed, and strength. But now, she was ready to show the aliens something far greater than mere claws and fangs. Captain Reluin stood at the command deck, pacing. His crew was scattered across the ship, tending to damaged systems and wounded soldiers. Panic had replaced confidence, and every new alarm made them flinch. "They are everywhere," one officer muttered. "We cannot predict her movements. She strikes without warning." Reluin nodded. He had realized a terrifying truth. The cat they had taken from Earth was more than an animal. She was intelligent, instinctive, and relentless. "She is not just a predator," he said quietly. "She is the apex, and we are her prey." Mittens moved silently through the ship's inner corridors, her paws whispering over the metal floors. Her tail swished lightly behind her. She could feel vibrations from the engines, footsteps from soldiers far above, and the faint smell of the humans who were now mobilizing below. Her golden eyes glowed in the dim light. Every instinct told her where to go, what to do, and whom to strike. She had already disabled drones, incapacitated soldiers, and turned the ship into chaos. Yet she had not grown reckless. She was patient, waiting for the perfect moment. And that moment had arrived. In the central command room, the aliens had gathered, thinking they could corner her. They had locked doors, sealed vents, and set traps with energy pulses. But they underestimated one truth. Mittens did not move like a normal creature. She moved like a shadow, through the cracks, through the tiniest openings, unseen, unstoppable. From a vent high above, she observed them. Her eyes narrowed. One wrong step, one miscalculated movement, and she would strike with deadly precision. The first contact came without warning. A mechanical drone was released from the ceiling, its lights scanning the room. It moved in patterns meant to flush her out. Mittens waited. The drone hovered closer. She crouched low, back legs tensed, tail flicking. Then, in one instant, she leapt. Her claws tore through the drone's sensors. Sparks flew. The machine stumbled, releasing a small pulse of electricity. But Mittens was already gone. She landed gracefully on a console, knocking wires and controls to the floor. The lights in the room flickered as the drone collapsed in a heap. The aliens froze. "She cannot be contained," one whispered. "She outmatches our technology," another said, voice trembling. Captain Reluan's eyes narrowed. "She understands. She adapts. Every move we make is anticipated." The next moment changed everything. Mittens dropped silently onto the floor of the command room. The aliens backed away instinctively. She moved toward them, slow, deliberate, her golden eyes fixed on each officer, each soldier. Her purring filled the space, low and vibrating, unsettling in the quiet. The soldiers tried to fire their weapons. Energy beams lit the room, but Mittens ducked, twisted, and moved faster than the eye could follow. Sparks flew as her claws struck consoles and control panels. Some beams even bounced back, hitting the aliens. Panic became hysteria. "She is hunting us," one officer cried. "No," shouted another. "We control this ship." Reluan stepped forward, but even he felt the weight of fear pressing down. The truth he had known for hours now screamed at him. This small creature, this pet, was more powerful than anything they had faced. Mittens paused. She crouched, her ears forward, her body tense. She sniffed the air. Then, as if recognizing the presence of humans approaching from outside the ship, her eyes seemed to burn brighter. Reluan noticed immediately. She senses them. Humans. The crew watched in disbelief as Mittens made a decision. She moved toward the main hatch, leaping over consoles and guards in a fluid motion. Her claws cut through metal panels, sparks flying, wires breaking. She was heading somewhere, and the aliens had no idea where. Outside the ship, Lila and the small human task force had located the hovering vessel. The girl's heart raced. She could feel Mittens inside. She could sense her cat was alive, waiting and ready. Colonel Harkin had brought soldiers with scanners, nets, and containment devices, but Lila refused to wait. "I have to find her," she said, voice trembling but firm. "She's counting on me." Harkin hesitated. "Child, we cannot. She is my cat." Lila shouted, "I will not let them hurt her." Harkin realized he could not stop her. Somehow, this small girl had a connection with Mittens that no one else could understand. Inside the ship, Mittens had reached the central hatch. She paused, listening. The humans were near. She could feel them. Her body relaxed, yet her focus sharpened. She had faced hunters before, the aliens, but now the humans brought something new. Unpredictability. Something even more dangerous than claws or technology. Her golden eyes glowed, reflecting the dim red lights of the ship. She hissed softly, a warning that the aliens could not understand. The aliens attempted to stop her. They deployed more drones, more energy pulses. But Mittens was faster than every calculation. She twisted, dodged, and countered with instinct alone. Every move was perfect, precise, and terrifying. Finally, she reached the top of the hatch. With a single leap, she landed outside, in the open air of space, not far from the humans. The soldiers aimed their weapons, but Mittens did not flee. She stood her ground. Her fur bristled. Her eyes glowed like molten gold. Every officer aboard the alien ship, and now every human observing, realized the same truth. This cat was no ordinary creature. Lila ran to the edge of the ship's landing zone. "Mittens," she shouted. Mittens' head turned slightly. Her gaze found the girl. Her ears twitched. Then, slowly, she began to move toward her human. Her steps were careful, deliberate, but confident. The humans gasped. Even trained soldiers held their breath. They had expected a fight, a creature that would flee or attack them. But Mittens moved as if she were in charge. It was not fear that guided her. It was recognition, loyalty, intelligence. The apex predator knew her master. Captain Reluin stared in disbelief. "She chooses humans," he muttered. "She understands the bond, and yet we cannot comprehend it." The other officers were silent, too stunned to speak. The ship had failed. Their predators were outsmarted, their technology disabled, and their control lost. Reluin finally realized the terrifying truth. They had come to study Earth's apex predator, thinking it harmless, but in doing so, they had glimpsed something far greater. The humans were not only her protectors, they were the true apex. They had tamed predators, controlled killers, and yet somehow remained alive alongside them. If a small cat could dismantle their ship, what kind of beings did humans have to be to command such creatures? Mittens leapt into Lila's arms, her golden eyes closing in trust. The girl hugged her tightly. The humans and aliens alike watched in awe. The pet had made her choice. She had revealed the truth. The aliens now understood. The apex predator of Earth was not measured by size, speed, or claws alone. It was measured by instinct, intelligence, and the bond it shared with its human master. The alien ship hung in the night sky like a dark shadow, silent and menacing. Below, humans had gathered, cautiously observing the vessel that had terrified the local population for hours. Soldiers and scientists worked together, scanners active, trying to anticipate the next move. And somewhere inside that massive metal shell, a small cat named Mittens had already decided the outcome. Lila ran through the landing area, her heart pounding. Mittens was safe in her arms, golden eyes alert, tail twitching ever so slightly. The girl had barely noticed the chaos around her, the soldiers clearing debris, the drones scanning for threats, the hum of alien technology that hummed and clicked with strange energy. She only knew one thing: Mittens was alive. "Stay close," Colonel Harkin ordered. "We're not sure what they're capable of. The ship may still react." Lila hugged Mittens tighter. The cat purred softly, brushing against her face, her small body calm yet poised, as if aware that danger was still nearby. Inside the alien ship, Captain Reluin and his officers were in full retreat. Their advanced systems had been disabled, drones destroyed, and their security forces incapacitated. The apex predator of Earth had proven far beyond their calculations. They had underestimated a small creature. They had underestimated humans. And now, the consequences were clear. Reluin paced in his control room, eyes scanning for a solution. "We cannot fight it," he said, voice low. "Every system we deploy fails. Every tactic we use is predicted. We are powerless." One officer whispered, "Perhaps we underestimated the species itself. Not just the cat, but the humans who keep it." Reluin's gaze hardened. He had faced countless worlds and countless creatures, but he had never encountered this. "Prepare for immediate retreat. We leave now, before more surprises appear." As the ship powered down emergency systems and initiated a slow, controlled withdrawal, Mittens watched through vents and open panels. Her body was tense, ready to strike if necessary. Her instincts told her this was not over. Not entirely. But she also recognized that the humans, her humans, were the reason the aliens now fled. With a final flick of her tail, she allowed herself to relax, leaping gracefully from the vent into Lila's waiting arms. The girl held her close, relief washing over her. "I was so worried about you," she whispered. Mittens purred, nuzzling her cheek, as if to say, "I was fine. I was always fine." The human soldiers and scientists observed the scene carefully. They had seen small glimpses of Mittens' abilities, her speed, intelligence, and uncanny agility. They had not expected the full scale of her power. Yet in her calm, purring form, they also saw something more, the connection between human and predator. Colonel Harkin approached, voice low. "You understand now, don't you? The pet is deadly, but the humans who keep them are a different threat entirely." Lila nodded, still clutching Mittens. "She's not just my pet. She's part of our world, and she's smarter than we even realize." The colonel studied the girl and the cat. It seems the aliens were right in a way, but they only saw half the truth. Meanwhile, the retreating alien ship moved higher into orbit. Lights flickered inside as the crew attempted to stabilize systems. But morale was shattered. Reports of drones destroyed, soldiers incapacitated, and the apex predator itself, evading containment, left a permanent mark on their records. Captain Reluan finally activated the communication system. "Log all observations. Record everything. Earth's top predator is not what we expected. And the humans, they are more formidable than we realized. Retreat. Avoid contact. Do not underestimate them again." The officers nodded silently. The retreat was cautious, fearful, and permanent. Back on Earth, the town slowly returned to normal. Lights flickered back to life. Streets cleared. People emerged cautiously, whispering stories of strange lights, eerie humming, and the small predator that had caused chaos among alien forces. Yet for Lila, the world had changed in ways no one else could see. Mittens sat on her lap as they walked home, her golden eyes alert and her ears flicking. It was as if the cat understood the enormity of what had happened. She had not only survived, but had reminded everyone, humans and aliens alike, of her species' true power. Lila's heart swelled with pride. "You're incredible," she whispered. Mittens purred, stretching her small body and kneading the girl's lap with tiny claws. That night, as the stars glittered above, humans looked up and wondered what had just happened. News reports described an unidentified craft retreating, energy readings that defied explanation, and strange disruptions across communication networks. Scientists puzzled over anomalies, trying to understand how a single, small animal could wreak so much havoc on advanced alien technology. The truth, however, remained hidden from them. It was not just Mittens' power. It was the power of humans themselves. They had domesticated predators, trained them, nurtured them, and lived alongside them. They had tamed the untamable, yet somehow remained unharmed. And if a small cat could dismantle alien technology and force retreat, the galaxy had only glimpsed the surface of human potential. In the quiet of her bedroom, Mittens curled up in a perfect circle, her golden eyes closed slowly. Lila sat beside her, brushing her fur gently. They had survived the ordeal, but both knew it was more than luck. Instinct, intelligence, and a bond forged over years had protected them. Outside, the world seemed ordinary again, but Mittens and Lila knew better. Earth had predators, humans had allies, and together they were unstoppable. The aliens would not forget this day. Stories would spread across the stars of the small, golden-eyed creature that destroyed their drones, disabled their weapons, and humiliated their soldiers. And somewhere in the galaxy, other civilizations would whisper in fear about humans who kept such predators as companions. Because if Mittens could dismantle an alien ship, what could the humans do? The night passed. Quiet returned. Lila fell asleep. Mittens nestled against her chest. The purring that filled the room was calm, soothing, but beneath that gentle sound, the instincts of an apex predator still pulsed. Somewhere, in the minds of humans and aliens alike, a single realization took hold. Size did not determine danger. Intelligence, instinct, and the bond between species did. Earth had its predators, but humans had theirs. And together, they were the apex. By morning, life appeared normal. Streets were busy, birds chirped, and the sun shone brightly. But the shadow of what had happened lingered. Energy patterns still flickered in the atmosphere. Satellites recorded unusual readings. And somewhere far above Earth, the retreating alien ship carried the story of a single, small predator named Mittens and the humans who had protected her. Captain Reluen would never forget the lesson. His crew would never forget. The galaxy would never forget. And on Earth, Mittens stretched lazily, opened one golden eye, and purred. The humans were safe. For now. But instinct, always sharp, always alert, reminded her that the hunt never truly ends. The apex had revealed itself, and the galaxy had learned to fear.